Hi, I'm Sheila Waterhouse, the Strategic Initiatives Director at Michigan Engineering. I'm delighted to talk today with George Halow, Professor of Practice and Program Director for the new Masters of Global Aerospace Engineering Leadership, and with Kevin Michaels, Managing Director at AeroDynamic Advisory. You both are innovators and boundary pushers in aerospace engineering, and the result of this is a new master's program at the University of Michigan. I'd love to learn more about why this program and why now. First, can you please tell me a little bit about yourselves? George?
Thank you, Sheila. And thank you, Kevin, for joining us today. So I'm a professor of practice at University of Michigan here in aerospace engineering, and recently adopted title of Director of the Global Aerospace Leadership Master's Program, the one that we're going to be talking about today. I've been here about 3.5 years after studying aerospace engineering as an undergrad, and then as a grad student as well. Then I had a long career in automotive, primarily engineering and manufacturing, but I also had some stints in business strategy, technology strategy, and also in finance strategy and planning. I also happen to have an MBA from INSEAD as well, which is all of which helped inform what I'm doing here actually at the University of Michigan.
Thank you, George. How about you, Kevin?
Thank you, Sheila. I graduated from the University of Michigan's Aerospace Engineering program in the mid-1980s and made my way into engineering, working on jet engines. But after doing my MBA, migrated over to strategic development and eventually management consulting, and started my own firm in 2001, where we advise clients on strategic development, merger and acquisition, technology assessment. And my company really operates at the intersection of aerospace engineering, economics, and geopolitical events. And we work with clients as big as Boeing, Airbus, Lockheed Martin, and as small as the machine shop down the road that makes parts for aircraft.
That's fantastic. You both bring this dynamic industry perspective to the University of Michigan Aerospace program. And now we've got this new master's degree, which really reflects a lot of your experiences and a lot of innovation in the marketplace. Can you tell me about this new master's degree?
Okay, so the way I would describe this one is it's a short burst accelerator, essentially, for early stage engineers and technologists who are seeking a blend of sort of advanced strategic technology and what we call the essential business skills to start this transition from strong technical contributor to becoming a technical leader. And one thing I'd love to mention about this too, it combines two of the most powerful and preeminent brands in their respective fields, which would be Michigan Engineering and INSEAD for Business.
How are you both involved in this program? Can you describe the origins and your interaction and how you've worked together to inform and shape this innovative offering?
Well, my role in this program, I'm the program director and kind of the initiator. And it all stems back to March of 2020, when, coincidentally, that's when, COVID hit really hard for the first time. We had the lockdowns. And our department chair, Tony Waz, came to me and he said, George, I want you to create an online master's program in aerospace leadership. And that was the catalyst for what I sort of synthesized in my mind, which was he's looking for, and we are looking for something that's online so students can do this around the globe, remotely and virtually and somewhat at their own pace, and get that strategic and really critical foundational blend between engineering and business. So I took Tony's direction and essentially ran with it, and came up with a structure that we know today as the Global Aerospace Leadership Master's Program. I have been really at the center of the foundation, or the focal point of developing and negotiating with all our academic partners for the program, both internal and external. I've got the lead and responsibility for finances and financial health. And then, of course, quality of delivery. And I will actually teach a couple of courses, at least one for now, and then probably one or two more as we go deeper into the program. And you mentioned, Sheila, about how we work together, myself and Kevin. And I think this is now a really, really good time to bring up how critical he has been as a coach and mentor and advisor, helping me develop the early strategy, what the approach is, what courses to include, how to position it, et cetera. And I couldn't be more grateful for Kevin's input than I am now.
Yeah, and I guess, Sheila, I'm George's sidekick, so I'm working with him on curriculum development and on the structure of the program. And for those who aren't familiar with the partner INSEAD, it's an unbelievable highly ranked MBA program that I'm familiar with. And it is a globally recognized brand, which is going to bring enormous benefit to this. It's really the best of the best, as George mentioned earlier, the two programs. So I'm a sidekick. And in particular, I'm also focused on helping to develop a curriculum for a new course called Aerospace Economics. And in my view, it's one of the major gaps of aerospace engineers today that go into industry and rise up to leadership positions. If one does not have a grasp of economics, there will be bad decisions made.
You know, that's interesting that you mentioned gaps, because my next question, I think, is related to that. But why develop a new master's degree?
I think right now, as aerospace engineering graduates go into industry and begin to rise through a company and take on increasing responsibility, whether it's as a project engineer or as a program manager, or even something higher where they're leading functions within an engineering department, or even taking on, larger responsibility for projects, they need a new set of tools that are not taught in the engineering program. And he or she then faces a choice. Do I try to get through this with these gaps, or do I maybe go back for an MBA? But an MBA is 2 years right in the middle of one's career. It has enormous opportunity cost. It can take one off a career path. And really what we're proposing, this new program allows this aspiring leader to do both, where he or she can pursue this whilst doing the day job and not having to leave the company for 2 years and spend enormous amounts of time and money on the MBA.
Well, that's a valid point. And George and I were discussing having both gotten MBAs, and you as well. There's a time and place, and there's a real business purpose for an advanced business degree. But as an aerospace engineering leader, there's an infusion of so many different fields that are really important. Who is this kind of program designed for? Who's the target student?
Yeah, the target student is generally early stage professionals with nominally 3 to 7 years of experience, and those who have developed and demonstrated exceptional technical capabilities and who want to develop themselves into more of a technical leadership role, I should say. And one thing we look for as well is that this view of their ability to, assume technical leadership roles in the future would be one that we'd love to see. The ideal candidate is one both who they have aspirations of being technical leaders, but also those who their companies have identified as those who have the capabilities of being future technical leaders.
Fantastic. George, you in particular come from industry and have a unique perspective to add to the faculty in aerospace engineering at the University of Michigan. And Kevin, you've been a very critical advisor to the department for the last decade and a huge advocate for a lot of change and new opportunities here in the department. Can you talk about the industry role in developing this program in particular?
So industry involvement is one of the most crucial and differentiating elements of this program. In fact, this program just fundamentally does not happen without the deep partnerships we forged with industry and the great input they've given us. Just like we've done at the undergraduate level in MBSE and systems engineering, we're essentially blurring the line between academia and industry. And that's one of the real strengths of everything we're doing here in this sort of leadership and professionalism thread at the University of Michigan in aerospace engineering. We've literally spent countless hours with our industry advisory board and many other partners in industry to shape so much of this program. Even the brand promise leadership behaviors we want to instill in our graduates, from that to the overall course structuring and delivering the in-person experiences in both Ann Arbor and Fontainebleau. We've got guest lectures and in some cases even full-on teaching by industry partners to help, again, guest lecture and teach some of these courses. We even had them in to, calibrate course content where we'd share syllabi, share some recordings, get their feedback, and then try to tune this to meet both their needs and those of the students that we will ultimately take into the program.
And Sheila, I've had the privilege of chairing the Industry Advisory Board since 2014. And one of the messages that the Industry Advisory Board, and for those of you who aren't familiar, it's a group of roughly 25 highly accomplished executives throughout the aerospace industry, encompassing every part of the ecosystem: space, aircraft manufacturing, engine manufacturing, systems, engineering, automotive, et cetera. But one of the gaps that we consistently see is that our engineers graduate and they do not have a good fundamental understanding of the economics of the business, whether it's why do people use aircraft? How do they make money with aircraft? How does transportation economics work? To what does it cost to develop an aircraft or an engine or a launcher or a satellite? And what are the factors that drive the cost to what does it cost to maintain, or how are aircraft and spacecraft maintained? There's an adage in the industry that a $1 mistake in engineering leads to a $10 mistake in manufacturing, leads to a $100 mistake over the life of the program. So the decisions that engineers make have a massive implication and impact on customers, and they don't often realize what their decisions mean. And we're really trying to close that gap in a way that we really haven't seen in other aerospace engineering programs across the world.
And it seems that given the fact that this program is tailored for an early to mid-career industry professional, to have this program be heavily informed by industry executives and leaders helps make sure the curriculum is fitting the needs of the people who want to grow into those leadership roles. This master's degree is a partnership with INSEAD Business School in France. Why were they selected to offer the business education component of this degree?
Well, international ties and relationships in aerospace run deep. We think they're going to deepen going forward. And INSEAD, frankly, is an international business school, and their brand is as an international business school. They're really unparalleled in terms of their brand promise and brand identity and reach around the globe. So they were the perfect partner from the beginning. It was clear from the discussions we had with Renee Balborn, who's an INSEAD strategy professor there, and also co-director of the Blue Ocean Institute, Urs Payer and Dean of Graduate Programs, and also Mary Carey, who's the regional director of the executive education, US, I should say, regional director of INSEAD executive education. They totally got what we wanted to do. And they've done similar programs with the Sorbonne and others. And it just was evident from the beginning we had the perfect partner, and we couldn't be more pleased with how the relationship is developing and building from here.
A global master's degree program with a global academic partner for a global industry. What are you hoping when you think about a cohort of students? What are you hoping that offers, and who do you see as prospective students?
We actually love the fact that we're developing this real international brand for the program like this one. And the ideal candidates, we would love to see a broad swath of students from multinationals and even smaller technology companies from around the globe, really. And the more countries represented, the better. The more aspects or elements of the industry represented, the better. As one of our industry advisory board partners, Mara Watala, who's the senior vice president of engineering and technology at Collins, said that we are not just developing future leaders in respective companies, but rather the future leaders in the industry itself at large. And so the more we can get broad industry reach around different companies, the better equipped we will be to actually develop future leaders in these individual companies. So as they grow and mature in their careers, they've built relationships, they understand each other, and it just makes it much more effective for companies to do business with each other as they go forward.
That's great. I know diversity, equity, and inclusion is a really critical priority at the University of Michigan broadly. And you're speaking about global diversity. Can you talk to what your hopes are for this program in terms of broad diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what it could mean for aerospace engineering?
Consistent with the University of Michigan at large, we are really driving hard for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've already talked about the global diversity that we're striving to achieve in our student body. But aligned with the University of Michigan at large, we're also striving for diversity with respect to all demographic groups to provide broad and equal access to all applicants.
What do you want prospective students to know about this program?
Sheila, what we want students to know about this program is that it is, first and foremost, it's unique, where it has really three major elements to it, where it takes on graduate level but topical engineering curriculum. So right now we're in a massive challenge with sustainability and zero emissions, which is a goal the industry's carved out for itself. And some of the engineering curriculum that's available to students takes on these subjects. The second element of it is classical, really what I call the MBA toolkit, where you have the opportunity to learn about whether it's finance or marketing or accounting or other things. This is one of the things NCA will bring, to the program. And then thirdly, we have hybrid topics that really deal with the intersection of these two issues. So for example, we're creating a brand new course called Aerospace Economics. And this really isn't taught today in the US or globally. And if you look around at what's happening in aerospace, whether it's the commercialization of space, where companies now have a profit motive, it's not just a government-sponsored program, economics moves right to the forefront. If you look at advanced air mobility and the really interesting and fascinating eVTOL, the electronic vertical takeoff and landing concepts out there today, we read about them every day, but yet these concepts are not going to come to the market unless you can find a way to make money moving passengers around from point A to point B, or even supersonic, which I know captures the imagination of many aerospace engineering students. But yet that isn't going to come to reality unless it can be done in a way where airlines can make money flying these aircraft. So the economic issues are all around us, while the new technologies out there in space and in the air domain are also, coming to us. So huge decisions have to be made. And we're really trying to give our students the tools to make those decisions.
That's fantastic. George, do you have any perspective to add?
Yeah, thanks, Sheila. Yeah, I think Kevin said it exceptionally well. I agree with everything he said about it. I would like to add a couple of things. I do think that this is a breakthrough initiative which can help establish deep and strong foundations to develop prospective students into future technical leaders, and really not necessarily to work on technologies, but rather to lead the implementation and integration of them into really just foundational and breakthrough value propositions. I would say, though, that this program may not be for everybody. It's going to be an intensive 2 years requiring a really strong commitment. And we obviously want to, and we'll work with prospective applicants to make sure that anyone who embarks upon the program will know that and determine that if this is the right time to do this program for them. But for those that do elect to come, we think it's going to be a fantastic and fundamental differentiator and an educational experience which will equip them for some of the most difficult challenges facing aerospace into the future.
This sounds like such a fascinating program and such a really exciting time for aerospace engineering at the University of Michigan. And thank you both for your time today.
Sheila, again, thank you for the opportunity to share these thoughts today. And Kevin, thank you for joining us. I also want to thank you, Kevin, for your stewardship and leadership in the industry advisory board while you were the chair of the committee, and really galvanizing the support we got from industry and providing even some of your own personal coaching, which just helped us get that infusion of industry perspectives into this program and help make it what it is today.
Thank you, George.